Hello students, in this lecture we will briefly study about the morphology and some of the important parasitic adaptations of Ascaris lumbricoides or the common roundworm, which belongs to the phylum Aschelminthes and the class Nematoda. Ascaris is an endoparasite of the human small intestine and it lies freely in the lumen of the intestine. It shows holozoic mode of nutrition and with help of the sucking action of its pharynx, it ingests the host's already digested food. As there is very little or no oxygen present in the human intestine, it shows anaerobic mode of respiration. Ascaris is a unisexual organism, which means that sexes they are separate and male and female individuals they can be distinguished from each other externally due to their morphological differences, and this phenomenon is termed as sexual dimorphism. Let us now take a look at its morphology, external morphology. Both male and female individuals they have smooth, cylindrical and unsegmented body, and on their body are present 4 brownish longitudinal lines which are termed as one is dorsal, one is ventral and 2 are the lateral lines. Female individuals they are comparatively longer with a length of approximately 20 to 40 centimeter, and male they are comparatively smaller with a length of approximately 15 to 30 centimeters. Apart from that, another very prominent morphological difference between the male and female individuals is that the hind end of the female Ascaris it remains comparatively straight, while the hind end of the male Ascaris is slightly curved. The common features of the male and female individuals they include at the anterior most tip of both male and female is present its mouth, and if we take a look at the magnified view of its anterior tip, mouth is a triangular aperture which is bounded by 3 lips. One is the dorsal lip and 2 are the ventrolateral lips, and on all these 3 lips are present their sensory structures which are papillae and amphids. Both papilla and amphids they are sensitive or they are sensory for the taste. Just behind the mouth on the ventral surface of again both male and female is present their excretory pore, and this excretory pore is the opening of the rennet cell about which we have already studied in our previous lecture. Then on the ventral surface of the female organism at approximately 1/3 of the body from the anterior end is present the female gonopore or vulva or the female genital aperture, which is the opening of its reproductive system. Any such corresponding aperture means the male gonopore is not present on the body of the male, means there is no separate male gonopore on male's body. The next aperture on the female's body is the anus, which is present little behind, little above the posterior most end of the body, and this anus is the opening of the alimentary canal. It is again present on the ventral surface. At the same position on the body of the male, where the anus is on the female's body, at that same position on male's body is present the cloaca and the cloacal aperture. This cloaca is a small chamber into which both the reproductive systems and the digestive systems they open, and this cloacal aperture it acts as a common opening for the alimentary canal or the digestive system as well as the reproductive system, which means that in case of female there are 2 openings, separate openings for the reproductive system and the alimentary canal, but in case of male these 2 separate openings are not present. Rather, this cloacal aperture it acts as a common opening for the alimentary canal as well as the reproductive system. From the cloaca, in case of male, protrudes out 2 needle-like cuticular structures which are termed as pineal spicules or the copulatory spicules. These pineal spicules again they are only present in case of male. Now if we take a look at the magnified view of this posterior end of the male in this diagram, here we can see around the cloacal aperture which is present on the ventral surface are present numerous pairs of these sensory papillae which are termed as the genital papillae. These genital papillae, they are sensitive for touch. These numerous pair of genital papillae, they are present only on the ventral surface near its posterior end. Only in case of the male Ascaris, the genital papillae, the sensory genital papillae, they are absent in the female organism. Then apart from this, the part of the body which is present behind the anus in case of female and behind the cloaca in case of female is referred as the tail. So these are few of the important morphological features of the male and female Ascaris. Then next is, here is a table. This table it explains the sexual dimorphism in Ascaris. Few of the important morphological differences between the male and the female Ascaris, they are enlisted here, although all of these features we just did. And these features, they include the differences in their size, the difference in their posterior end, which is comparatively straight in female and it remains curved in case of the male. The posterior opening in female Ascaris is the anus and it is cloacal aperture in case of the male. The separate genital aperture is present in female organism, but it is not present in the male Ascaris. And these copulatory setae and the genital papillae, they are present in the male, but these are absent in case of the female individuals. And now the next comes the parasitic adaptations in Ascaris. These are the features of Ascaris which help it to lead a parasitic life. These adaptations can broadly be categorized into three categories. So the first category is they are the morphological adaptations. These are adaptation related to its external morphology. So first is Ascaris. This Ascaris body is covered by a thick and resistant cuticle which protect it from the digestive juices of its host, as Ascaris is present in the small intestine of the man, where numerous digestive juices they are present. The next is Ascaris. It has a very simple morphology, as it is present as an adult Ascaris. It never leaves its host and it is always present in the intestine of the man, which is a quite well protected habitat. The next category of adaptations include the adaptations in its physiology, which include Ascaris, as it do not have any adhesive structure. It do not attaches itself to the wall of the intestine like the tinea. It remains free in the lumen of the intestine, and where it can move with help of dorsoventral undulations. Ascaris, it has a muscular pharynx with help of which it can suck the pre-digested food of the host. It do not have any specific circulatory system, but Ascaris, it has this pseudocoelomic fluid which help in the transportation of the nutrients and other materials. As we already did that there is very little or no oxygen in the intestine, it shows this anaerobic mode of respiration. Ascaris, it also secretes few anti-enzymes to neutralize the digestive enzymes present in the intestine of the man, which is its host. Then the last category of adaptations are the reproductive adaptations. With help of these adaptations, Ascaris, it increases its chances of survival. So first is Ascaris, it shows very high rate of reproduction. For example, a single female Ascaris, it can produce approximately 15 to 20,000 capsules or fertilized eggs in single day. And these capsules, they can survive in the open environment for many years. The next is that these capsules, they are very light and small in size, so they can be easily dispersed from one place to other place even through air. The next is that the chances of infection to its host, which is man, they are much increased, as there is no intermediate host. Man is the only host, it do not have any other host. So due to lack of any intermediate host and due to presence of direct and oral infection, the chances of survival, chances of infection to its host, they are much increased. So these are the few of the parasitic adaptations of the Ascaris. So that is all for today's lecture. Thank you.